हाँ चला ठीक है
Over 1.2 billion people, mainly centered around Asia and Africa, do not have access to electricity. Our aim here is to see different models by which we can enhance access to electricity. The idea was to link energy and livelihoods, because when you do that, you enhance the incomes of the local community. And once you enhance the incomes of the local community, they get greater ownership of the system.
Norway is a country which, of course, is very small in terms of population, but has a global vision, has also established partnerships, and in the case of TERI, of course, the relationship goes back a long period of time. We've always been a very broad-based, multidisciplinary organization, but there were certain areas where we needed to sharpen our ability to apply our knowledge.
So this project that we did is not just only about electricity access, but it's also about clean electricity access. We finally came down to 4 different states, because firstly we wanted to look at renewable energy, in this case solar energy, and the way it performs and functions in different climatic zones. So right now we have set up clean energy systems or solar energy systems of different configurations in Assam, in Uttar Pradesh, in Madhya Pradesh and in Odisha.
In the field of, say, modeling of climate change, I must say that it was largely because of this partnership agreement that we have been able to create modeling capacity and capability within TERI.
We are now a workforce of over 5 climate modelers working, and also the infrastructure capacity in terms of procuring an HPC system out here, which is a high performance computing setup, which is a supercomputer. See, if you want to study a climate which is a scale of say more than 50 years, 100 years or even 200 years, a long-term climate change if you want to study, the only thing that is available to humans is simulating a climate and checking how it will evolve in the future or how it has evolved in the past. The latest models that are coming, the Earth system models that are coming, they are much more able to provide a better information for the future or better simulation for the climate, for the policy makers to have a robust policy, or I would say a climate smart policy.
The basic idea behind nationally appropriate mitigation action, particularly the adjective nationally appropriate, is that the developing countries will take only those mitigation actions which are in tune with their developmental priorities and their circumstances or their challenges that they face.
And it was something that developing countries had to do with respect to GHG mitigation. However, what they had to do and whether it was a policy or an action or a project, that was not clear.
Now we have a much clearer understanding of how the institutional mechanism should look like for implementing NAMAs and what type of actions could be labeled and how they should be designed.
For example, we developed a tool which was used, which could be used by now policy makers and planners, which would help them to identify actions, and these actions could be anything, project, policy or larger policy measures. So for example, if you see India, we have renewable energy potential, but many countries would not have renewable energy potential. If you talk about many countries are dependent on, let's say, tourism. So their mitigation strategy would be quite different from what we have.
What we did was actually looked at perceptions of industry and whether firms in India face barriers in accessing technologies. So we had looked at legal regimes in 5 Asian countries, and there is this allegation that there is a lot of infringement of IPRs in developing countries, and what our study has indicated that more than actual empirical evidence, there are a lot of myths. We got the flexibility to devise our agenda as we chose, and we also through the NFA we got to have good partnerships, like we had a very fruitful partnership with Tsinghua University who collaborated on the China aspect.
The need was felt for setting up a specialized collection center on climate change, issues related to climate change, ranging from policy issues to the science of climate change, mitigation and abatement strategies, impact, vulnerability and assessment issues. So probably in India, I think solely devoted to climate change, in terms of collection, SLCC would be the only one. We have added a lot of electronic books to our collections and also online databases. Apart from that, we have developed some customized services in terms of, like, say, the literature abstracts database that is accessible through the SLCC website.
Projects of this nature, which is more thematic and more theoretical, the corporate sector do not see their immediate benefits. It's very difficult to get them involved and catalyze them into action. And the NFA's support, which was initially a small support, actually mushroomed into 57 companies coming forward and supporting the white paper and being part of it, with 9 stakeholder meetings across the country and over 13 to 14 industrial sectors participating in this. We have been able to, through this support, come up with action plan for each of the 8 missions which support the efforts of the Government of India.
We were testing out models with a view of scaling them up eventually.
The empirical evidence which has come out of this study, it would actually help in strengthening the developing country position.
More climate models, as in more Earth system models, as well as more impact models as well. Because there is something called as services, the climate services, that now every developing nation needs.
Well, together with TERI, under Dr. Pachori's visionary and strong leadership, I believe we have achieved impressive results within clean energy, energy efficiency and climate change cooperation. And the program has already had positive impact on people's lives and also on the political agenda in India, and internationally produced new knowledge about climate change. Clean energy cooperation with states and business community in India are a strong example of this. And one thing I would like to mention is the Uttar Pradesh government, who now have ambitions for replicating the TERI solar model in 200 different villages.
So I expect in the next phase, while we will continue a number of the activities that we've already carried out in the past and build on them, in the case of climate modeling, for instance, we would also get into some newer areas of emphasis where I think the country would benefit over a period of time.